Okay, so I just got done having like a little um chat, not chat, but chat on Raleigh Link's page about something I had seen a couple of days ago. So Raleigh's pretty on top of this about hold on here. About let's see about the Kadi Lee Ferrell situation with that poor starved horse. I've been meaning to make a video about this, but again, I'm not Raleigh. I don't have millions of people watching my channel, but it needs to be said. There are so many risks that come into sending your horse off the property, whether it's for training, whether it's for a lease, a sales lease, a riding lease, any reason for your horse to leave the property. There is a massive risk. With training leases, a lot of people don't do the due diligence on researching the facility. Usually they just go online, they look at a couple of reviews, they watch a couple of videos, if any videos exist, and that they call it good. The best way, in my opinion, to know the facility is do this many months in advance before you buy the horse or before you know my 6-month-old foal is going to need training here in about a year. Let me start looking now. Go to those facilities. Find a way to get on that property legitimately, because everyone gets freaked out when someone just shows up at the property and just hangs out. You need a legitimate reason to be there so that once everybody kind of gets comfortable with you being there, you start to see how they train these horses. What conditions are these horses in throughout the day? What kind of practices happen at the facility? How does that trainer train horses? You might not be around the trainer, but if you're riding and taking lessons, and maybe there's a totally different trainer there that does lessons, or maybe that trainer offers lessons on their own horses or whatever. Do this months in advance so you can, one, know how the trainer trains, know how the horses are treated, when are they fed, hang out, clean stalls, hang out as often as you possibly can. Try not to be obvious about it. Be legitimate in wanting to help, because the more you are around, the more you will see. I apologize. I'm sitting on a rocking chair and my screen is wiggling. It's very wiggly. So this is what a lot of people don't do. They don't go to the facility and get to know the trainer, get to know the facility, because a lot of these people want to send these horses off to trainers that are states away, thousands of miles away, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But you take the risk of that horse ending up in a situation, in the worst possible situation, which would be what happened to that poor, beautiful chestnut Overo. He was so cute, so pretty. It's awful what happened to him. And that is the ultimate worst possible scenario that can happen, is your horse ends up dying at that facility. And it could quite possibly, let's say worst case scenario, your horse passed away. It could have been from colic. There could have been absolutely nothing wrong with the management of the facility. It's just bad luck. But 9 chances out of 10, there's going to be a problem with that facility. Their practices are abusive. The horse injures themselves in the process of this abuse. They come home with behavioral problems because of the abuse. They come home thin. They come home with injuries. There are so many horror stories from so many people over the years. I've been in the horse industry since I was 13 years old. I am 36. I don't own any horses right now because I'm going through nursing school and going through a lot of changes in my life. Maybe horses will be part of my life again. I now just lease and lesson, and I don't own at the moment, but I have owned up until about 2019. 2019. Hold on, how long has it been? Oh my gosh, like 2019. I can't believe it's been that long already. So do your due diligence. If you have a horse or you want to buy a horse that you know is going to need training, or you want to buy a yearling, you know that yearling is going to need training. So what? It's halter broke. Great. You're going to need to, the horse is going to need to lunge. The horse is going to need to learn how to take tack. The horse is going to need to learn how to walk, trot, canter, lead changes, collection, whatever you want to do. Even if it's just a trail horse, they still need the basics. They're going to need a trainer. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to need a trainer. Start as early as you possibly can. Find a few trainers. Just because you like Ryan Rose doesn't mean he's going to have an availability or is comfortable taking your horse. Maybe what you want is not what he trains. Have a few trainers on backup. Just because you want Ryan Rose doesn't mean you're going to get Ryan Rose. You may have to settle for, I know you don't like him, but Clint Anderson or Monty Roberts or somebody, find more than one trainer because you never know. They might be full. Maybe they don't think, him and the trainer don't work out. Maybe the horse is there for 2 weeks and Ryan calls you and says, hey, me and this horse are just not getting along. I don't feel like you're going to get your money's worth out of this. I think he might work better with a different type of training style. That is the perfect kind of trainer that goes, I'm going to lose money, but what's best for the horse is a different trainer than me. Not every trainer is going to do that, but I'm just saying, have more than one trainer on backup. Go to these facilities, take lessons, something. Find a way to get on that property, become a stable hand, part-time on the weekends. Find a way to get on that property in a legitimate manner that nobody's going to question why you're being nosy and hanging around. If they find you watching, be like, I just find horse training interesting. I got done doing all my stalls. I cleaned all my water buckets. I'm taking a break, and I figured I'd just watch. If that bothers you, I'll move on. That's a red flag. Why do they not want you to watch? And say your horse is in training. Say for whatever reason, you've chosen a trainer. Maybe they're close by, maybe they're not. And you show up unannounced, and they completely flip a shit. They flip the flip out. Why? Why are they so upset that you're there unannounced? They refuse to let you see the horse. They tell you that this is private property. You can't come on the property unless we let you on the property. Those are some red flags. Why is this trainer not willing to let you on the property and see your horse, regardless of whether it's planned or not? It takes 2 seconds for you to walk out there, lay eyeballs on your horse, pet it real quick, do a once-over at the bare minimum, and go, okay, my horse is not starving. I can walk up to my horse and touch his face. He's not being beaten in the head. I can't see any major bumps, bruises, and injuries, but you do have to be realistic. If they're in a herd setting, they're going to have scrapes. They might have a few cuts. They might have a few spots where they've been nibbled on. Your horse is not going to be perfect in a herd setting. So let's be realistic in our expectations. If they're in a stall by themselves and they don't get turnout, there should be no bumps, bruises, and scrapes and bruising and swelling. There should be nothing. Your horse should be blemish free. So why do they have blemishes all over them? Be cynical at these facilities. When you go there, obviously go there to learn, but you're also there to watch and learn and listen and look at everything you possibly can. So what? You have a lesson. Show up a half hour early before you're even supposed to go and, groom the horse. Walk up down the stalls. What do the stalls look like? Are they reasonably clean? Are they absolutely filthy? Does it even look like the stalls have been cleaned? Are they covered in flies? Do they have a fly spray system? Is it working? Is there water in the buckets, or do they have a automatic watering system? Is the plumbing okay? Does it look like the spider webs have been cleaned? Obviously, it's not going to be perfect. Spiders and flies, they love each other. But are there literally like dingleberries of cobwebs hanging off of the barn? If they're asking for top dollar, that facility should be top dollar. They should have stable hands running around. If you walk around and you don't see anybody, where is everybody? The stalls are dirty. There's no hay. There's no water. Where are the stable hands? If they're not to be found, what's your money paying for? If it's not paying for the stall cleaners, where's that money going? You have to get to the facility. That's my ultimate number one pet peeve. Do not take these people's words at face value. Get your butt into that facility and see what the hell is going on. If you want your horse to go halfway across the country, then be prepared to spend big dollars. Book a plane ticket. Reserve a hotel. Get a freaking car rental. Show up at least once a month if that's what it takes to get out there and lay eyes on your horse. Because what happened to this horse happens all the time. Not necessarily do they die, but they come back to these owners in the worst condition. Half the time they're not trained. They're starved half to death. They have behavioral issues. Like, what did all your money pay for? Nothing. They walked away with all that money. And now you have to fight in small claims court to get that money back. And you have to prove that this horse wasn't taught anything, that the horse was starved, and it turns into a big battle. All that can be prevented by going out and looking at your horse. It's not just this, oh, they disappear out of sight, out of mind, and they're going to come back this beautiful package. Hardly ever does that happen. Mistakes happen. Bad luck happens. Even with a trainer like Ryan Rose, sometimes he has to make that crappy phone call and be like, your horse, sprained a tendon. Your horse suffered a suspensory injury. Your horse suffered a colic episode. I'm sure he's had, injuries happen at his facility despite the best possible care, despite the best intentions. Sometimes bad luck just happens. But you need to be smart because the world these days is out to get everybody in every avenue. It's not just the horse industry there's a problem. There's problems at the health industry. There's problems with pharmacology. There's problems in the veterinary community. There's problems in the government, in the military, in the frickin' the criminal justice system. Everywhere has problems. And in the horse industry, this is the problem. You send your horse off to training, you never know what the hell you're going to get. Go to the property. Get to know the property first. Do this the right way and find properties that are closer to you, that you approve of, that meet your requirements, but you got to start months, possibly a year or two in advance before you even need a trainer, because by the time you need one, you don't have time to really do the research because you've got a yearling now that's getting bigger and bigger by the day and is getting more and more belligerent. Halter training seems to be kind of getting into the fuzzy area because you don't know what you're doing, and the horse is getting pushy and shovey and nibbly, and maybe it hasn't been gelded yet. You're still on the fence about that. I've got many words about that. I'm sure Raleigh's said it enough, but don't wait until you need the trainer. You need to start doing your investigating long before you need that trainer. So that's my 2 cents on that. The more you can get out there, the better. Once a month is the bare minimum. And do not tell that trainer when you're coming. If they mandate that you have to announce when you're coming, that's not the trainer for you. There is no good trainer out there that does not appreciate or approve of an owner showing up at random just to see their horse. They know the business. They understand that this is part of being a good trainer. Always being prepared for an owner to show up. They should not have to announce themselves. A trainer that mandates that you have to announce yourself or you will be escorted off the property, they're hiding something. There is no trainer worth a grain of salt, sorry. There is no trainer worth a grain of salt that will refuse the right for you to come and take a look at the horse on their property. That is your horse. And if that trainer wants to continue having a good business, he knows that that is part of the game. But if they're trying to hide something, they don't want you on that property because, one, the horse might be filthy, the stall's not well, maybe it's outside being chewed up by horses, and who knows what is going on and what they're trying to hide. Maybe they're having a bronc session with 4 of their new training horses, and they don't want you to see how these horses are broke to ride. Who knows what they're hiding? Who flippin' knows? And if that you show up and that happens, you should couple of days, wait for the whole thing to blow over, and kindly contact the trainer and tell them that something's come up in your life and you just can't afford the training right now. In a couple of months, we're going to reevaluate, but the horse needs to come home. And they should send you that damn horse back. Do not let somebody railroad you if you show up unattended. The whole point of being an unattended announced visit is for you to make sure that they're doing what you're paying them to do. A good trainer will know this and will respect it and not have a problem with it. So I'm going to reiterate. Show up unattended at least once a month, and if they deny you access to the property, game over. Do not pay them any more money. Get the horse out of there. If that means you have to show up with a flippin' police escort, do it. Get the horse off the property. Something's happening. It's not good. And the horse is suffering for it.